There comes a moment in life when something shifts between parents and their children. For years, you raised them, guided them, and sacrificed endlessly. But then one day, it feels different. They don't seek your advice. They dismiss your opinions. Maybe they even speak down to you, or worse. They treat you like a burden. And yes, that hurts. If your children have started treating you with less respect than you deserve, it's natural to feel angry, frustrated, or deeply disappointed. You may want to remind them of all the love you poured into them, all the times you put yourself second. But here's the truth. Reacting with anger won't fix the problem. In fact, it can make things worse. What will work is a shift not in them, but in you. Today, I'll share 6 powerful actions that can help you regain your children's respect. These aren't about fighting or arguing. They're about real transformation, quiet, confident changes in the way you show up that will reshape the way they see you. Stay with me until the end, because some of these might surprise you, but all of them can change your life. Action 1. Stop chasing their approval. One of the biggest mistakes older parents make is trying too hard to earn their children's appreciation. Maybe you've found yourself doing this, going out of your way to accommodate them, saying yes when you want to say no, putting their needs ahead of your own just to keep peace or feel loved. But the truth is, the more you chase approval, the less respect you get. Respect doesn't come from self-sacrifice. It comes from self-respect. If you constantly bend, give in, or suppress your own feelings, you're teaching them that your needs don't matter, and once they believe that, it's easy for them to take you for granted. Take Margaret, for example. Once a strong, independent woman, she began letting her adult children run her life. She stayed silent when they dismissed her, agreed to whatever they asked, and even tolerated disrespect, thinking it would keep the family close. It didn't. It only made them stop valuing her voice. The first step to regaining respect isn't asking for it, it's acting like you deserve it. Set boundaries. Speak honestly. Say no when you need to. Because the moment you respect yourself, again, your children will begin to see you differently, and that's when the respect starts to return. Action 2. Don't argue. Lead by example. When your children dismiss your thoughts or treat you poorly, the instinct is to fight back, to argue, to demand they treat you better. But here's the thing, arguing rarely brings respect. It often does the opposite. Respect isn't earned through shouting or pleading. It's earned through calm confidence, through how you carry yourself, especially under pressure. Frank, a retired teacher, learned this the hard way. At home, his adult children talked over him, mocked his input, and dismissed his concerns. At first he argued, trying to prove he still deserved respect. But the more he pushed, the worse it got. Then he changed his approach. He stopped trying to prove anything. He listened more. He spoke less, but when he did, his words carried weight. He became calm, composed, and unshakable. And gradually, his children started listening, not because he fought for their respect, but because he showed them what respect looks like. So, instead of reacting with frustration, lead by example. Show strength through grace. Show dignity through calm. And your presence will speak louder than any argument. If you're still watching and finding this helpful, comment number 2 below so we know you're here. And if you haven't yet, subscribe and turn on the bell so you never miss an inspiring message. Action 3. Withdraw emotional dependence. One of the hardest truths to face is this. You can't rely on your children for emotional fulfillment. You may love them deeply, but if your sense of worth depends on their attention, the relationship can become strained. When people sense that you need their affection, it shifts the dynamic. Your love starts to feel like pressure instead of support. And instead of feeling grateful, they may start to feel burdened. Helen experienced this. A kind-hearted mother, she had given everything to her children. But as they grew busier, she found herself waiting by the phone, calling often, and expressing how much she missed them. They pulled our knot because they didn't care, but because it felt like too much. So Helen made a change. She stopped calling first. She joined a book club. She reconnected with friends. She built her own joy, and something surprising happened. Her children started calling. They missed her. They respected her time, and they admired the life she was building. The less you rely on your children to feel needed, the more they'll value you. Because independence is magnetic, it's powerful, and it earns respect. Action 4. Set boundaries and enforce them. Here's a difficult but necessary truth. People will treat you how you allow them to. If your children talk down to you, ignore your voice, or treat you as an afterthought, and you stay silent, here, teaching them that it's okay. Robert, a retired businessman, once ran a company with authority, but at home, he struggled. His adult kids interrupted him, criticized his choices, and dismissed his input. He tolerated it, telling himself it wasn't worth the fight. Until one day, he realized silence was sending the wrong message. So Robert changed his approach. When his son interrupted, he calmly said, "I'll continue speaking when you're ready to listen." When his daughter dismissed him, he replied, "You don't have to agree, but I expect respect." And when the behavior didn't stop, he drew the line. "If you can't treat me with basic respect, I won't spend time in that space." At first, they pushed back, but over time, they changed. Because Robert wasn't backing down. He showed them he valued himself, and they followed his lead. So ask yourself, are you allowing the disrespect? Because if you don't set boundaries, they won't either. If you're still watching, comment number 4 below so we know you're with us. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and turn on notifications. Your support helps us reach more people like you. Action 5. Stop giving without appreciation. Respect is lost when kindness is taken for granted. And many parents unintentionally train their children to expect more and appreciate less. You give your time, your money, your energy, and often you receive no thanks, just more requests. And when you finally say no, they act annoyed. George, a devoted father, did this for years. He helped his children financially, showed up every time they needed him, and changed his life to meet their needs. But instead of gratitude, he got complaints. And when he needed them, they were too busy. So George changed. He stopped offering help without being asked. He stopped saying yes out of guilt. And most importantly, he started saying no when it was necessary. At first, they were upset, but slowly, they started valuing his time. They realized his help wasn't automatic, it was a gift. So if your kindness is being taken for granted, ask yourself, what would happen if I stopped giving so freely? Because when people know your generosity has limits, they begin to treat it and you with more respect. Action 6. Build a life outside of them. This final step might be the most important. You don't need to stop loving your children, but you do need a life that doesn't revolve around them. When you build your identity entirely around your kids, they may start to see you as someone who's lost their own sense of purpose. And no one respects a person who has given up their life waiting for someone else's attention. Eleanor, a widow in her late 70s, faced this. After her husband passed, she poured everything into her children's lives, checking in constantly, giving advice, trying to fill the empty space. But instead of drawing them closer, it pushed them away. Eventually, Eleanor chose herself. She started traveling, joined a club, volunteered. She stopped waiting and started living, and her children noticed. They became curious. They admired her. They respected her. So ask yourself, do your children see you as someone living a full life? Someone just waiting around? Because when you show them you have joy, purpose, and fulfillment outside of them, they will respect that deeply. Final thoughts: respect isn't something you can demand, it's something you inspire through your actions, through your boundaries, through your strength. So if your children have stopped treating you with the care and respect you deserve, don't try to force it. Shift the way you show up. Stop chasing their approval. Lead with quiet dignity. Withdraw emotional dependence. Set and enforce boundaries. Stop giving where there is no gratitude. And most importantly, build a life that's rich and full beyond them. If you do these things, your children will begin to see you in a new light. Not as someone who needs their attention, but as someone who commands respect. And in time, that respect will return not because you demanded it, but because you earned it. Thank you for watching. If something in this video spoke to you, please leave a comment below and tell us one thing you plan to apply in your life. Your stories inspire others and us. And if this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us keep creating content that informs, uplifts, and empowers. We'll see you in the next video.